my whole world came crashing down because I wanted to do the right thing for the family. I didn't want to put my family in danger of her biting anyone else, but I just couldn't imagine giving her up or having her put to sleep. So those were the initial options that were in my head. Well, I have to give her away or I have to put her to sleep. And then I just started looking for help. My name is May Jorge and my dog is Haley. So Haley was a rescue puppy from Craigslist. I saw on Craigslist that there was a litter and they were really cute. So I randomly met this girl at a gas station and she had a couple puppies and I just kind of picked one and she came home with me. I paid $150 for her and was told that her mom was Australian Shepherd and her dad was a yellow lab. So that's what we assume as of now, is that she's a yellow Australian Shepherd lab. She was always very active and very rambunctious, very cute, very fun. She had tons of personality, and I immediately recognized that she had a little bit of a stubborn streak in her, but loved her just the same and watched her develop. And then I took her to training, and she went to training at the age of 4 months old. I think it was a 6-week program. And then she was a COVID puppy, so I picked her up and I could work remotely, and we just went to travel the United States during the COVID times when I could work remotely. And that was our little adventure. And then we settled back home once they brought everybody back in. And she has been a great dog. She just loves being naughty. She loves getting into things. She loves being the center of attention. If you're not paying attention to her, she'll go grab a pair of shoes and she'll parade in front of you and she'll be like, come chase me. So a lot of engagement. Sometimes I didn't handle it the way that I should have to correct the behavior because it was fun and it was cute. But then it just kind of developed into she would not obey when I would tell her not to jump on people. So it became kind of, the older she got and the more grown she was affecting my guests that would come over. She would jump on them, always in a loving way, but still in a way that was very annoying. And so I started to have these behavioral issues with her, even though she was still a very loving and wonderful dog. So initially it was socialization with other dogs. She didn't love it as much as she had been used to. I used to take her to dog parks. We used to do lots of play dates. And then all of a sudden she started becoming a little bit more skittish, wasn't reacting well to the dogs. And then my mom moved in with my husband and I, and she moved in and she brought her little tiny Cavapoo, which we had given her for Christmas a year prior. So the Cavapoo was just a year old, and Haley began to get a little bit jealous. Cavapoo was very playful and wanted to be on top of Haley all the time, and Haley tried to set those boundaries, but the Cavapoo did not understand them. So there were about 5 or 6 occasions where Haley pinned her down, and she would bark in a manner that was pretty scary, but she wasn't hurting her, but she was definitely making everyone uncomfortable. And so that was the first time that I started seeing aggressiveness in her, and that was very worrisome. I gave her calming chews. I talked to the vet, and they said, well, she's just exerting her dominance over the home and over the toys, etc. So she had guarding with food and with toys. And so it was really unsettling because you didn't know when that was going to happen. And then we kind of got it to where they were not doing that. She was not doing that anymore, and things got a little bit more calm. And then Haley had an accident, which I think was a turning point. My mother-in-law threw a stick and it lodged itself into her esophagus through the mouth, and she had to have emergency surgery. And after she came home from that surgery, I feel like my dog was no longer the dog that I knew, and she wasn't loving and she wasn't friendly. She seemed stressed. She seemed like she was in pain. She didn't engage with me the way that I was always used to engaging with her, because she was always very loving and always wanted a lot of affection. And so I started having episodes with her where she would menacingly bark at me if I was trying to correct her behavior. If she had a sock that she grabbed, she would run underneath the piano. We have a grand piano, and that's her little hiding place where she goes when she doesn't want somebody to correct her. So I would try to take the sock away from her, and she would growl at me, and I would say no. And then it would escalate to where she was menacingly barking at me. And I was very concerned. I started doing visits to the vet, running panels to see if there was anything in her body that was deficient, or she wasn't getting the right nutrients, or if she was in pain somewhere, and they couldn't find anything. And that's when we were in the middle of that, and we were about to get a behavioral specialist when I had the incident in the morning where I was feeding her. And afterwards, she always would come to me for a hug. But this particular morning, I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't on guard, and I went in to hug her. And I think that was the moment that changed everything. She grabbed my arm and she bit me. And it broke my heart, honestly, because here I've loved this puppy for 5 years, taking care of her. And just seeing that she's able to react like that to me was just heartbreaking. I would make her go to her place, and most of the time it was just me saying, "No, Haley," and she wouldn't like that, and then it would just kind of escalate. And that happened, I would say, between September and when she bit me, which was the end of January. I think she barked at me like that 5 or 6 times, where I knew there was a problem. I was in complete despair here. This is the puppy love of my life, and I've poured out into her. We've been through thick and thin together. This is my best friend. This is like a child to me, and she bites me, and my whole world came crashing down because I wanted to do the right thing for the family. I didn't want to put my family in danger of her biting anyone else, but I just couldn't imagine giving her up or having her put to sleep. So those were the initial options that were in my head. Well, I have to give her away, or I have to put her to sleep. And then I just started looking for help, and I was able to find Highland Canine, and that was just a miracle, and I'm just so grateful. I'd like to add also that she's been through 2 training programs. The initial one when she was 4 months old, and then about 3 years ago, we did like a weekly program where I would take her in 1 day a week and then practice the things at home. And she's very smart, so she could do it. She just doesn't want to do it. So it was that stubborn part that never really connected. Oh, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing, not just, I used to use an e-collar prior with her, but the way that you guys have taught me to use the e-collar is completely different. And you use it not just to reprimand, but also to communicate. And so if you turn it down low, they know they're getting this stimulation, and that means that I have to pay attention. And that's completely different than how I used to use it, where the e-collar was more of a punishment. So it's really changed our interaction, because I don't have to yell at her. I could just kind of say the word and tap the collar, and she knows she's got to do it, and she does it. I'm adamantly in favor of the e-collar. Absolutely. She obeys. She understands. There's clarity between our communication. She's not trying to guess what I'm trying to tell her to do, because it's the reaction that's already been programmed into her, that when I say this word and I give her just a little bit of stimulation, that she knows exactly what she has to do. So I do not have to yell at her. I don't have to chase her around the house anymore. I don't have to punish her. I don't have to put her in the cage when she's being naughty, because she's not being naughty anymore. She's not grabbing random napkins. She's not being reactive to other dogs, which is amazing. She's not being reactive to her environment. She knows when the doorbell rings that she's got to run to her place. I mean, I've got a brand new dog back. I'm like, where have you been all my life? I would say that it's in the way that you use the e-collar, that it's not you don't have to use it as a punishment tool, and you don't have to turn it up really high to where it hurts your dog. You can use it as a communication tool, and then it's not hurtful to the dog, it's not hurting the dog, and it's a way to get your dog's attention and know that this is the command, this is what I have to do. So I highly recommend it. I think that if you could fix my dog, you can fix any dog because she was pretty stubborn and she had all of these behaviors ingrained in her because I had positively reinforced them when she was cute and little. And so I thought she was going to be the dog that you couldn't fix, to be honest. And you were able to fix her. So I have complete faith in this system. Just want to say that I'm so grateful to have found you guys, and you guys have absolutely changed our family, changed my outlook, the excitement that I have towards having a relationship with her, and the fact that I know that she understands what I'm trying to say to her. So I'm just super grateful.
Yeah.